Lecture 6. Acceptance levels and retesting. After all the testing is done, we need to assess the results. In this lecture we cover two related topics. First, the acceptance levels that define whether a test piece has passed or failed, and second, the retesting rules that govern what happens when something does not meet the required criteria. These are practical, day-to-day tools for the welding engineer and inspector. Acceptance levels for imperfections. Clause 7.5. Table 4 of the standard lists the acceptance levels for imperfections found during the procedure test. The imperfections are referenced against ISO 5817 quality levels, which run from B, most stringent, through C to D, least stringent, and against ISO 6520-1 imperfection classification numbers. Let us go through the key entries. Cracks. ISO 6520-1 reference 100. Not permitted at either level 1 or level 2. There are no exceptions. A crack means the test piece has failed. Lack of fusion, also called incomplete fusion, reference 401, not permitted at either level. Again, no exceptions. Incomplete root penetration, reference 4021, not permitted at either level. Continuous and intermittent undercut, references 5011 and 5012. At level 1, no specific requirements are given. The application standard may impose limits, but the procedure test standard itself does not. At level 2, quality level C to ISO 5817 applies. Excess weld metal on a butt weld, reference 502. Level 1 no specific requirements. Level 2 quality level C excessive convexity on a fillet weld, reference 503. Level 1 no specific requirements. Level 2 quality level C. Excess penetration, reference 504. Level 1 no specific requirements. Level 2 quality level C incorrect weld toe, reference 505. Level 1 no specific requirements. Level 2 quality level C excessive asymmetry of fillet weld, meaning unequal leg lengths, reference 5214. At level 1, the limit is H not greater than 3 mm. At level 2, quality level B applies. Excessive throat thickness, reference 5214. Level 1 no specific requirements. Level 2 quality level C all other imperfections. Level 1 no specific requirements. Level 2 quality level B, the most stringent category. So in summary, Level 2 applies a systematic quality level framework where most geometric imperfections must meet level C, and other imperfections must meet level B. Level 1 leaves most of these to the application standard, with only the 3 absolute failures being explicitly prohibited. Retesting rules, Clause 7.6. When a test piece or specimen fails to meet the required criteria, Clause 7.6 provides a structured framework for determining what happens next. Let us go through this systematically. NDT failure. If the test piece fails to comply with any of the NDT requirements, one further test piece shall be welded and subjected to the same examination. If that additional test piece also fails, the welding procedure test has failed, full stop. However, there is an alternative path. An analysis may be performed to determine the main cause of the defect. If it is established, with documented evidence, that the cause of failure was not related to the procedure itself but was due to insufficient welder skill, then no additional test piece is needed. The evidence of this analysis must be added to the report. This provision exists because it would be unfair to fail a perfectly sound procedure simply because the individual welder had a bad day. Destructive test specimen failure. If any test specimen required by Table 1 or Table 2 fails to meet the applicable acceptance criteria, the test piece is considered failed. A new test piece with the same welding parameters may then be welded. However, before making a completely new test piece, there is a provision for taking additional specimens from the original test piece. If adequate material remains, 2 additional test specimens may be removed from the original test piece for each specimen that failed. The additional specimens must be taken as close as possible to the location of the original failed specimen. Each additional specimen is subjected to the same test as the one that failed. If any of the additional specimens then fails, the welding procedure test is considered failed. Macro section failure with other tests passing. There is a specific provision for the case where all destructive tests provide acceptable results but the macro section test fails. In this situation, 2 additional macro test specimens may be taken from the original test piece. This is a practical accommodation. A macro failure is sometimes localized, and additional specimens from adjacent locations may show the true picture. Hardness test failure. For hardness tests, if there are single hardness values in different test zones that exceed the values indicated in Table 3, an additional row of indentations may be carried out. This additional row may be on the reverse of the specimen or after sufficient preparation of the tested surfaces. None of the additional hardness values in this extra row shall exceed the maximum values in Table 3. If any do, the test has failed. Impact test failure. For impact tests, if the results from a set of 3 specimens do not comply with the requirements, but not more than one value is lower than 70% of the specified minimum average, then 3 additional specimens shall be taken. The new set of 3 specimens shall individually comply with the 70% rule from Clause 7.4.4, and the average value of all 6 specimens combined, the original 3 plus the new 3, shall not be lower than the required average. This is an important provision. It gives you a second chance on impact testing in a controlled way, but the combined average of 6 must still pass, so you cannot use this to paper over a fundamentally poor result. Note: retesting provisions are tools for borderline cases, not a routine fallback. A well-planned procedure test on representative material, properly welded, should not routinely require retesting. Recap: Lecture 6 Key Points 42. Cracks, lack of fusion, and incomplete root penetration are not permitted at either level. These are absolute failures. 43. Level 2 applies quality level B for all other imperfections and quality level C for most geometric imperfections. 44. Level 1 leaves most geometric imperfection limits to the application standard. 45. NDT failure. One further test piece allowed. If that fails, the test is failed. Welder skill failures may be excluded with documented evidence. 46. Destructive test failure. Up to 2 additional specimens from the original test piece may be tested. If any fail, the test is failed. 47. Macro failure. With other DT passing, 2 additional macro specimens may be taken from the original test piece. 48. Hardness failure. 1 additional row of indentations permitted. All values must stay within Table 3 limits. 49. Impact failure. 3 additional specimens may be taken. Combined average of all 6 must meet the minimum requirement. Quiz, Lecture 6. Question 1. A Level 2 butt weld procedure test shows intermittent undercut. Under Table 4, what acceptance level applies? Question 2. One of 3 impact test specimens in a set gives 25 joules when the required minimum average is 40 joules. Is this an immediate failure? Q3. If all destructive tests on a test piece pass but the macro section fails, what is the correct retesting action? That's all from Lecture 6. Till next video, please revise previous lecture links or in description and playlist appearing on screen.